Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Johngy or Else podcast, without which life would be incomplete and have little or no meaning. Coming to us from Skokie, Illinois, is the man on the beat. From JohnGysBeat.com, Mr. Jonathan Anoa'i Brobleski. And I, of course,
I was gonna say you didn't introduce yourself.
Shut up and let me do it.
But you always introduce yourself first.
So I give you the nod one time, and then you got to step all over it. You know, I try to let you go first once, and now you got to step all over it. I, of course, am who else but Tommy else. Welcome to the show.
You wanted to say it with me.
No, I don't want to say with me because I already announced you, and now you just shit all over it. So welcome to the show, everybody.
We're off to a good start.
John's already, once again, has just thrown. He's the pebble in the shoe once again. So, pebble in my shoe. How are you doing, John?
I am good. You're recalling Elliot Serrano with that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm good. How you doing, buddy?
Well, the man was right. I'm fine. So my middle name this week, correct?
Did I get it? It's not correct, but it is a good portent of things to come.
You are not part of the Anoa'i family?
I am in spirit, I am.
The great Samoan dynasty of wrestlers. You are not one of them, huh?
In spirit, I am. More so than Sami Zayn.
All right. Well, now you're off the rails. Well, I will tell everybody that our guest today, however, is part of that Samoan dynasty. He is one of the Anoa'i, and he is joining us today to tell us about his professional wrestling career and his life in general. L.A Smooth, who was part of Eastern Championship Wrestling, so ECW, but before it became Extreme Championship Wrestling. Paul Heyman, who has been a very integral part of that family's pro wrestling lineage and history. Absolutely. He's got a lot of great stories, and he's going to share them with us, from being palmed in the head by Andre the Giant, to being there to see a young, hungry Billy Kidman come into training and learn and watch him go on to success in WCW. So with that, let's welcome our guest to the show, L.A Smooth. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, a part of the Samoan dynasty, L.A Smooth. L.A, how are you, bro? How are you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing tonight?
We're great, man. How what's up? What's going on? How you feeling today?
Oh, I'm actually feeling good, feeling blessed. Just recovering. I recently, about 2.5 months ago, had a kidney transplant. So I'm doing great, man. Doctor said I'm doing good, and I'm recovering well, and I'm ready to get back out there and do what I do best.
And you got that from your wife, right?
Yeah, we heard about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was a blessing, man. I keep saying it, but the doctor, told her that 1 out of 100,000 of a husband and wife would be a match, and she was my perfect match. So it was.
Wow.
It was
wow.
So she was truly your perfect match across the board, then.
There you go, 100%. Over 100.
That's awesome. But you feeling good now?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, man. Every day is a good day. It's a blessing. So, I'm just happy to, feel a lot better, and I don't have to be stuck on a dialysis machine because that's the worst feeling in the world. But I feel better every day.
Great. Yeah, I know people who go through dialysis, and it's, it's 2-3 days a week, and it's very exhausting, and it's an unfortunate lifestyle to have to maintain. So I'm glad you don't have to
I
deal
was
with that.
doing it. I was doing it every day at home,
Oh, really?
5 days a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
How
So
Wow.
it
long was
was
that
pretty bad.
process?
Well, I mean, you stay on it until you find a donor, and then once they're ready to, you stay all the way up till they do the surgery.
No, what I
Yeah.
mean,
Because
like,
you
how
gotta do
long did it from your diagnosis to the surgery? Like, how long of a period was that?
it. It was about a year and a half, maybe.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
long time. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, congratulations. We're happy to
Thank
hear
you,
that things that worked out for you there.
thank you so much.
But we have you in here because we want to talk some wrestling, man. We want to talk some
Hey, let's get it
wrestling,
in. Let's get
and
it in.
you're part of a very important family, and in the wrestling business, and obviously you have a very interesting career. I'd like to talk about a few things. One of which is your time in Qatar and things like that. But if you could kind of like walk us through your kind of genesis into wrestling, because you're born into this family where that is just a very strong thread amongst everybody in there. Did you feel like there was ever anything else you wanted to do that would be, aside from wrestling, or did you feel like that just was your natural path to get into?
Well, to be honest, let's put it this way. In our family, if you get into wrestling, we start you young,
Yeah.
and I actually started at 15.
Yeah.
But I've always, I was younger, and I had an uncle on my mom's side that was a police officer, and he used to take me on rides, and I got hooked on, law enforcement.
Yeah.
So I actually ended up doing that as I was wrestling after a few, when I got older, and I actually was wrestling and I was doing law enforcement. So I did about 17 years in law enforcement.
Wow.
And that was something that I wanted to do in the beginning, but then wrestling came in and it became a full-time job for me in the beginning.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you for your service, for one.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. No, that's so okay. Well, there you go. Then, so you did have an interest in something else, but somehow you still got pulled in the direction of wrestling when it was all said and done.
Yeah, yeah. It was not easy to not do it, put it that way. It
Yeah.
was it was it was like in my face, since I was young, I used to, watch my brothers and my cousins train, and then I started training, and before you know it, at age 15, my dad opened up the Wild Samoan Training Center in Whitehall, Pennsylvania, and we moved there, and then I started my career from there. I was 15, and I believe my first match I was almost 16 years old.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, so you go out there and you start training, and uh, you ended up doing some time in ECW. Can you tell us a little about that and how that came to be?
Yeah. Well, I mean, before I went to WWF, I actually was working for Todd Gordon. It was called Eastern Championship Wrestling. I
Right.
was his top heel back then.
Okay.
And, I was working for him. So if you want to really be true and honest, saying that, original ECW, this one right here, and Todd will tell you,
Yeah.
I'm an original ECW. So, I was in the Philadelphia area working for him and kept me busy. And then when that opportunity came to go to WWF and, start working with them on the road, that was a no brainer, of course. And,
Sure.
I enjoyed it. And then after finishing there, I went to Puerto Rico, and I stayed in Puerto Rico for almost 7 years,
Wow. Wow.
back and forth. Then I come back and go back on the road for WWF. But yeah, I was in Puerto Rico, and then after that, I re-signed with WWE, and then after that little journey, then we went into ECW, which was with Paul Ellering, Paul E,
Yeah.
and I had the greatest time. Working for ECW was it was fun, and it was put it this way, with WWE, you gotta go by what they want to do. But Paul just let us enjoy ourselves. If you came up with something, he would, let you go with it. If he had something with it, we mix it together and it would work. So
Sure.
it was very good working for Paul.
Well, your family's got kind of a long history with him too, right? I heard you had mentioned in a different interview about knowing him way back when he was a photographer.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, he was a photographer back in the days, and he used to, take pictures of my dad and uncle, and then he actually started bringing guys in, getting more into the wrestling, and from there he just exploded, and then he started, managing my brother and my cousin, which they were the SST, the Samoan SWAT team.
Mm.
So I mean, they go a long ways, and it was in WCW, and then now look at he's ending up with the head of the table himself,
Yep. Yeah.
and that storyline. I mean, we can get into that, but I mean, it's just crazy. It's off the wall, and I'm really enjoying what they're doing with them.
Well, it's really cool that there's that legitimate connection between Paul Lee and your family going all the way back. So when he talks about that stuff in the ring, that's not storyline, that's reality, and
Yeah, that's totally reality.
he
Matter of
really
fact,
has been attached to that family.
actually, he just texted me yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I always text him and I tell him, I said, I love it, great work, this and that. And he was just telling me because I actually am trying to go back as a producer or an agent for WWE. And
Right
it was
on.
in the works before COVID. And then COVID hit, and of course, couldn't do anything. And then the budget cut. So I've been waiting, and I finally talked to them and met with them. So right now they're just waiting, and I just found that out. Plus, he just told me that they're waiting until everything's settled with this buy that they did, this conjunction with UFC. So
Sure.
once they do that,
Yeah.
then they'll go back into the hiring process. But
Yeah.
it's funny because he just messaged me yesterday and was telling me that. He goes, I was just thinking about you, and I was just talking about you with the company, and when they're going to bring you in. And then he was like telling me that, and I said, yeah, Paul, sorry to tell you, but I already know.
Yeah.
And he always
You
keeps
got a
in
few
touch.
people on the inside there, yeah.
But he always keeps in touch with me. If I text him, he'll always text me back, and I appreciate that from him because I know he's busy, but he is that close to our family where he doesn't hesitate to call or text back.
That's really cool. That's very
Yeah.
cool.
No,
So
you're. Oh,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, please, John,
No,
go
I'd
ahead.
say along those same lines. We know that you've trained at your father's academy. How is training all the wrestlers? How your transition from wrestling to teaching wrestling? How did that go?
Well, before I was training, as I was training, I was actually training myself and training his students at the same time. So it was like training in progress. But once I was there and I was helping my dad train the students, a lot of guys came out of our school, like Gene Snitsky,
Mhm.
who else?
I've
Billy
I've
Kidman.
I've met Gene, and I don't know in my life that I've ever had a handshake that I thought was going to crush my hand
That's
more
Gene. Yeah,
than Gene Snitsky. I mean, like I thought he was going to just shatter my hand when he shook my
yeah.
hand.
He has a thorough handshake for sure.
Yes.
So when you're training someone, like, do you know? Could you tell like that? Even though you're going to continue training them, and they're going to be a wrestler. Could you tell like this person really has something special? When could you tell that?
Well, I mean, you can tell as soon as they actually walk through the door, to be honest with you, because you can tell whether they have heart for the wrestling business or they're just there for the glory. Because
Right.
if they're going to come in or train, they're going to put their heart and soul into it. If they're going to go there and waste our time, you can tell because a lot of guys, they don't, well, I can't do this, I can't do that. Well, you know what? There's the door because
Yeah.
we don't have time to deal with that, But a lot of guys, all the guys that we got in there, we never had any really, should I say, big head guys that walked through the door. We had a couple of them, but they didn't last for a couple of days, and that was it.
Right.
Because my dad could spot it, and he would let them know if you're wasting my time. He goes, "There's a door, leave." But Gene was a natural. Billy Kidman was unbelievable.
Sure.
I mean, this kid, when he came in there, he used to actually come and just watch in the beginning. And he would
Yeah.
sit there. My dad would let him watch. And then before you know it, when he wanted to train, that kid blew out records from guys in there for doing sit-ups, push-ups, everything. I mean, he was unbelievable and good gentle. I mean, gentle heart. I mean, really, good kid, man. I mean, I love Billy, man. And to this day, every time I see him, man, he's always giving me a hug, and he never forgets where he came from, and I appreciate that from him.
That's very cool to hear. Yeah. Well, I've always been a fan, so I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. And then we
Have
got
you?
Batista, which he came
Oh
to
yeah.
our and actually trained him. I used to do a lot of one-on-one with him.
Yeah.
And actually, I was on contract when they asked to see him. My dad talked to Vince and said, "Hey, I got a big guy here," and Vince said, "All right, let's see him."
Yeah.
So I actually went up to the office with them to train with him and let them see how how good he was. And of course, I told them, they're saying throwing me around, I'm gonna throw you around too. So you got to
Yeah.
look good both ways. But it was funny because we were driving back from Connecticut and going back to PA, and all of a sudden he gets a phone call, and they actually overnighted his contract. He got signed the same day he trained.
Oh, very
Wow.
cool. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
impressive.
Have you found in the course of training other people that you learn things yourself? Because I'm a personal trainer, but I've also helped do some training in the ring as well. And I find that like as you're trying to show other people like the right way to do things, sometimes it makes you even tighten up your own game a little bit, and you start realizing that you kind of almost like take lessons away from that. Have you had that experience at all, or is that just me?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's always you're gonna, like, for example, Billy Kidman.
Yeah.
I'll use him as an example. He came in there and he shined. I mean, he was good at everything he did. So if you're training somebody like that, you say, man, this kid's got his game going on, and you want to pep it up as well. So that makes you want to do things a little bit better, and a little more, take more risk doing other things to prove that, hey, I'm the trainer, you're the
Yeah.
student. But yeah, it always, you get somebody in there that's got the talent, they're natural, and it does step your game up a little bit when
Well,
you
and
train.
it's infectious when you get somebody who is serious about it, because then you want to then you want to tell them everything. You want to give them every last bit of knowledge and education you possibly can, because you know that they really, really want it. And when you see that enthusiasm, you'll go 10 times above and beyond for that person. It's the people who just, like, you can tell are just there going through the motions, and you're only going to give them so much.
Absolutely, absolutely, and yeah, you're 100% on that, man. And it's great. It's a good feeling when you know that these kids have their heart and soul into it, and you're training them because they love wrestling, and
Yeah.
that's the name of the game.
When you feel like it's worth your time, then you're willing to give every last bit of your time to it, because it's like you want to see them do well and succeed, because
Yes,
you've got someone who respects it and is taking it seriously. So it's
absolutely,
a
absolutely.
it's a very exciting thing to be a part of. And then
Yes,
especially when it gets down the road and you see them actually start having some success, then it's really cool.
it's like a mother having a child.
Yeah,
You're
man. Yeah, you
since
totally
you're
no.
happy for them.
There's a pride in there for them, and it's like, because more than anybody where they came from, and how
Yeah,
they
yeah.
started. So that's cool.
And then you become a fan of theirs.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
see those guys
absolutely.
on TV, and when he got
Hmm.
signed, I was so happy for him. And I really watched WCW because of him. Because
Yeah,
I wanted to see him. So it's definitely a pleasure, and it's a great feeling when you see them accomplish what they want and make it to the big time.
for sure.
Now, you were in the movie The Wrestler. And can you tell us any fun stories from that experience?
Yeah, actually, I told this story plenty of times, but um, we trained Mickey Rourke for the movie,
Yeah.
and before that we were actually start training Nicolas Cage. He was supposed to be the original person,
Oh,
but then
really? I did not know
yeah,
that.
yeah, and then they actually asked him to do National Treasure 2. and he had money invested in that. So he actually pulled out of the wrestler, and of course he's going to go do that because it's a bigger budget, movie. So then they were trying to figure out who can they get, and the producer got in touch with Mickey Rourke, and he was all for it. And we started training him. We trained
Well,
him.
he was great. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't train him too much. I did train him like I think 2 or 3 times, and then after that, I do know one story when when I was training him. Mickey was used to boxing,
Yeah.
so his stamina was boxing, and he could get his win for that. But wrestling was completely different.
Oh yeah.
So it was
Sure.
taking more
Way
out
more
of him.
legs. Way more legs
Oh
involved
yeah,
there. Yeah.
and body movements and everything.
Yeah.
So as we were training him, he was, as we call it, blown up. He was blown up. He couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
And every time he hyperventilated, he ran to the window and he would yell at his security guy that's with him or whoever was there, open the damn windows. And he put his head out the window and try to breathe. So I was trying to help him, and I said, here, this is what we're gonna do. And I take the bag in each corner.
Yeah.
And I said, when you feel like you start hyperventilating, I said, take the bag and breathe in it. And so he did it a couple of times, and it helped him. But that window, it seemed like was his best friend, man. He just kept running through the window.
That's
But
funny.
Mickey was a great guy, man. He was awesome, man. I thought he was going to be more of a snob, but no,
Yeah.
he was a great person, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I mean, it's a fantastic movie, and but it just goes to show, how so many people just they discount the athleticism that it takes to be able to do, you know, pro wrestling, and to have that, the lung capacity to just go even like 6 to 8, in the ring. I mean, you're going nonstop. You're running, you're dropping, you're getting back up. You're picking somebody up who's 250 pounds. You got to drop them, pick them up again, fall down, get up, run across the ring, jump over the rope. I mean, it's just like it's a workout like nobody could really fathom, and to have the agility and the endurance to be able to do it takes a lot of time and a lot of training to do that. And the only way you'll get through that is if you really truly have passion for it. So,
Yeah,
and
absolutely. I've seen guys that just threw up on the side of the ring. I mean, guys that hit the ropes and broke their ribs. I mean, because they weren't conditioned. But after a while, they got conditioned. But it's not easy, And Mickey he went through it, and he respects the business so much,
yeah,
now because of what he's seen. People can watch TV and say, "Oh, yeah, I can do that." Get in the ring and try it.
yeah. No, really. I mean, like that's always been one of my biggest frustrations. I'm like, I know they make it look easy, but that's because they're that good, and that's what you're not giving them credit for. They're so good that they can do that and make it look like, oh yeah, I could jump in there. I can jump off the top rope and do a frog splash. I mean, what difference is, it's like, yeah, you think you do, and then get in, even the first time you go in there and you try, you'll be like, oh shit.
Yeah, tremendous athlete. Totally.
So, but well, that's awesome. That's very cool. I'm glad you got to be a part of that. And so obviously you're out with your kidney right now and everything, but what's in the future for you?
Well, I mean, I really asked my doctor. I said, "What can I do after this?" And I told my doctor knew what I did and who I was and everything. And I told him, I said, "Listen, I gotta be straight out with you." I said, "Wrestling it's it's choreographed, and we can go out there and do what we want, and see what we can do. I can protect myself." He
Sure.
goes, "Well, as long as you can protect yourself," he goes, "and you don't get directly hit in the stomach with a like sharp," he goes, "which nobody should be hitting you with a sharp, object or something like that
Anyway,
directly in
yeah.
the stomach."
Right.
Yeah, he goes, "You should be fine." He goes, "But take your time." He goes, "Right now, you can." I told him I do signings and I travel. He goes, "You're fine to travel, to go do your signings." He goes, "But take it slow." And he goes, "I wouldn't see why not. You should do what you love." He goes, "Just do it, but be careful."
Right.
So I'll continue doing my signings and going to conventions and doing those. I got a lot of those set up already. But getting
Well,
in
and
the ring,
then
I mean,
if this gig with WWE opens up too, that's gonna change things for you too. So
sure. It's something that it'd be steady, and I mean, I've done 36 years and going on 37 years in the wrestling business, and I've done everything possible that I can dream of, that I enjoy doing. So this is something my passion
yeah.
in helping other guys and producing, because I do a lot of that now. So
Mhm.
this is right up. This is right in my wheelhouse, to do that. So I would love to do it, and that would be something I can retire in, and that'd be it.
Absolutely, yeah. And then one of the great things about the business is that it's not like if you're not in the ring, it's not like that's it for you. There's a lot of different ways to be a part of it and contribute to it and help others and pass on what you've learned to other people and help, strengthen its core and build it up, for the future.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, it's a wonderful part about this whole thing. So, there's lots of opportunities I'm sure ahead of you. So
Plenty of opportunities, and I'm there to take advantage of them.
that's awesome. John, you
Let's
have
say
any
a quick question going back to your youth when obviously your dad and your uncle were wrestling in the WWE or WWF back then. So you
Hmm.
were a little guy. Did you meet or did you like play in the ring at all? Did you meet like I think you're about the same age as Shane. Like, did you guys wrestle in the ring at all or anything like that?
No, actually, I didn't go a lot on the road with my dad. I was more with my mom. But when I did, I used to go to locker rooms, and I'll never forget when Andre the Giant, he went over there, he went by me, and I looked up at him like this,
Oh my
and
God.
he went
Yeah.
over there, he walked by me, and he put his hand on my head, and it covered my whole top of my head,
Oh
half
wow.
of
Oh,
my head.
wow.
And he goes there, he goes, "Hey, kid," and he tapped me on the head, and it felt like he broke my neck, but that was his Andre.
Dude,
Yeah, and
that, that's awesome.
to meet guys like that, and when I was younger, and to see how much of a superstar and what they did for the business, and it's unbelievable now. But back then, you didn't see it that way, but now you see it, and I'm just blessed and happy to meet these guys and actually work with a lot of them. When I was young, I mean, I worked with like Junkyard Dog,
Oh,
Chief
wow.
Jewel Strongbow, Chief Jay Strongbow, uh,
Wow.
Sergeant Slaughter. I mean, oh, so many of them I worked with, Paul Orndorff, King Kong Bundy. We're even going back to George the Animal Steel. I worked with a lot of them, and I'm just honored to have had the opportunity to wrestle against them at a young age and be able to know them. And a
Sure.
lot of them are gone and they're missed, but I have something that I can take with me and say that, hey, I knew that person personally, and I got to be able to go in the ring and wrestle against them, and it was an honor.
Yeah,
That's gotta be
and
fantastic.
all of those experiences leave you with a learning experience as well. And so
Absolutely, yes.
you get to take that and carry that throughout the rest of your life, and I'm sure have applied them to your career up to present. So that's very cool, and that's very I mean I'm envious of the Andre moment because
That's cool.
anyone who gets Andre to, put his hand over your entire head, I think that's pretty awesome. So,
Yeah.
um, well, dude, thank you so much for coming on the show
Well, wait a
tonight.
minute. We gotta ask. We gotta ask. So,
Oh, we
who
have
really
one.
is the tribal chief?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Whew. Well, I mean, Roman can call himself the tribal chief on WWE, but the true tribal chief and the head of our family is my dad.
All right.
He is
Great
the
answer, man.
oldest,
Great
Yeah.
answer.
and he is in charge of our family. So that's my tribal chief.
All right. Okay. Well, you
And
heard it
I
here.
will be making my debut back in Qatar sometime. Uh, Maybe over the summertime. I'm supposed to go back there because I'm still their heavyweight champion, and
Beautiful.
I'm just waiting. And they want to bring me back. They do small academy shows there for now until the big show comes up. So I'm gonna go over there, and they're gonna bring me in and introduce me as a heavyweight champion, which everybody knows. So I'll
Well,
be going back there soon.
let's talk about that real quick. We don't have to jump off just yet. I did want to. I didn't think about that, but I did want to bring that up. So tell us about that. Tell us about that promotion in Qatar that you're working with, and you're the heavyweight champ for.
Yeah, Qatar is the owner of it, Ali. I've known him for a long, long time, and actually, he worked with my cousin Yokozuna
Yeah.
years ago as well, and he was young, but Ali's a great guy. Is he guy? How can I put it? When we go there, he takes care of all the guys. I mean, there's no problems. It's a great company to work for. I mean, the people enjoy wrestling over there, and Ali has a partner. His name is Bilal. He's from Germany, but he was raised up in Qatar, and
Yeah.
he's a great guy too. And those two together, they work so well together, and they made the company great the way it is. So, working for them is great. He had a lot of stars over there. Cody Rhodes was there, John Morrison. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, the last show we did, we had, Big Sexy there, Kevin Nash,
Sure.
Yeah. Eric Bischoff, Road Warrior Animal, God rest his soul. He was there. And that's actually the last time I saw Joe, matter of fact.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, that was something that I cherish as well. But there were so many over there. I mean, there's so many names over there, and the people enjoyed it. I mean, we were in a big arena, and it was just awesome, man. And everything over there is top notch, top notch.
Well, it's good to hear. It's always nice to hear about a well-run promotion because they're few and far between. So,
yeah, sure.
Well, that's awesome, man. And I'm glad to hear that you're getting out there and you're the heavyweight champ. So be well. I'm glad to hear you're on the mend. I'm glad to hear that you had the kidney transplant and everything went well. John,
Thank
you look like you've got something to say.
Yeah, just before we let you go, is there anything you'd like to promote? I know you got I know you're doing a convention in River City next weekend. Is there anything else you want to promote? Your social media and anything like that?
Yeah, I'll be in Jacksonville at the River City Convention on June 10th and 11th, and then I'll actually be coming up I believe I'm in Pennsylvania. At the Icons of Wrestling, and then I got a couple more in Pennsylvania. So slowly but surely, I'm getting these conventions back. And if you guys want to hit me up, if you want to bring me in for a convention or bring any of our family members, please let me know. And you can reach me at my Facebook, which is under Vaitanoa Lloyd Anoa'i. I have my chief name in there in the beginning, so people always ask me, "What's that name?" And I said, "Well, that's my high chief name because I am a chief back home now." So I represent that. And then you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter underneath the Great Alofa, L.A Smooth. So if hit me up, and if you guys want to book any of the Samoan Dynasty, you got them right here.
All right, now
We're
tell me
hoping
if,
to see you in Chicago.
now tell me if I'm saying this right, because John and I went back and forth about this a little bit. It's Anoa'i.
Yes, very good.
Anoa'i.
Anoa'i. Yeah. See,
Okay.
I told you. I told
You
you.
were. I was a little off.
Told you. I had it. All right. Dude, thanks again so much, LA. It was a pleasure to get to talk to you and get to hear some of your stories and everything. I wish you the best, and we'll post all of your social media and everything so people can find you and follow you. And really, thanks again for coming on and being with us.
Thank you guys for having me, and it was a pleasure. And anytime we want to do this again, let me know, and we can do it. We can talk on other subjects. If something else comes up, let's do it.
We'd love to have you back again, man. We'll talk. We'll absolutely talk again for sure.
Be well. Stay well.
Thank you guys very much, and I appreciate the hospitality. Thank you.
Of course.
Take care, buddy.
Be well. L.A Smooth, ladies and gentlemen, there he is. Part of the Samoan Dynasty. 17 years as a police officer is nothing to sneeze at either. That's a long run, man.
Cool dude and really, really fun guy.
Yeah, really fun, nice and laid back. But yeah, I think it's interesting that he grew up in the family, and yes, it's like I'm sure he's just surrounded by wrestling all over the place, and that can go a couple different ways. You know, you can fall into it and become part of it, or you will become rebelling against it. And you know, it's like in my family, you know, there was me, my mom, and my dad, and we're all, you know, bodybuilders. And then there was my brother, and who went the complete opposite direction and was like, I will never lift a weight for as long as I live, you know. So you never know which way these things are going to go. But, you know, he got 17 years as a cop, but he still couldn't quite completely let go of the wrestling. But it sounds like he's had a lot of incredible experiences, you know, just as a child, and then growing up, and then being able to train with other people and train other people, and see someone like Billy Kidman come in as a student and see their heart and their attitude, and then watch them develop into a top tier talent. You know, that perspective is very unique. And while I haven't quite had that level of success with the one person I've worked with, I am still I can understand the level of
Sure.
pride that puts into you, and the appreciation. And like he said, you become a fan of the person. And in my case, it's Cameron. But you know,
Great.
I am legitimately a fan of hers as well, you
Yeah.
know. So I
No,
hear
he seems to have embraced like all like he's got the best attitude about the wrestling business, and he's embraced all the good parts.
the
Seems like a really
positives.
good
Yeah.
guy. You know,
Hmm.
he cares about putting it forward for the next generation, not necessarily of his family, but of anybody.
Yeah.
Speaking of that,
No,
like I forgot to ask him if I could be an honorary member.
well, I'm glad you forgot to ask him that, because it would have been a terrible question, and it would have been very embarrassing for the show in general. So
I think I've
that
got what it takes.
let's count that as a blessing, because God forbid if somebody actually in the family was drunk enough to say yes to such a request, and I saw you on some poster with the rest of the family, I'd lose my mind. I just like,
Johngy Anoa'i,
yeah, it would not be good. It would
it
not be good.
rolls.
It does not. It does not.
No, but he was all seriousness. He was a really great dude. Really, really, it was a really fun interview.
Yeah, and I know that we said we would have him on again, and we will. We'll catch up with him again a little down the road. I think it's, uh, you know, I'm very happy for him in that, you know, from the kidney situation and
Yeah.
everything, that he was able to not only find a donor, but that his wife was able to do it and willing to do it
Incredible.
and everything. That's a, you know, that's a very beautiful thing. And so I'm happy for him, and for the rest of his family. So
He's in a good place. He's got a ton of stories, so I'm sure we will have him back on. And here's dig a little deeper into some more of his stories.
absolutely. All right, buddy. Well, with that, I, of course, as always, have been who else but Tommy else. And with me is the man on the beat from JohnG'sBeat.com, Mr. John Robleski.